Hey, what's going on, guys? Video editing part in our section 2 of our overall masterclass for Adobe Premiere Pro CC. This is our talking head example right here. I obviously just wanted to take that time there to switch up the pace of what we were doing. I felt we were going down too specific of one route with the whole promotional video stuff I was preparing there, so I thought I'd throw in this talking head example. Remember, guys, I'm a huge fan of keeping our workspace and our project down here as tidy as we can, so one thing I noticed that I kind of neglected doing as part of this example here was actually organizing my clips. So if I just go ahead and create a new bin, aka a new folder, and just go ahead and title that talking head example, boom, and that can encompass all of what we just worked on there. So I'm going to click that, and I am just going to highlight all of these guys and go ahead and just drag that to our talking head example just to keep this area here nice and neat. Honestly, I'm a little bit ADD, so that might be my thing, but I promise you will 100% not be regretting it by just getting in the habit of organizing those clips from the very start. So let's go ahead and click off of our talking head sequence, and what we're going to be doing is importing our backing track to start syncing these DJ clips, these crowd clips, and these B-roll clips up to the actual backing track and making it nice and synced, and overall just making a nice little sequence. So if we go to our example here, I have a backing track that I've got in my example folder, and we're going to go ahead and just drag that back into Premiere. Obviously let it go right here. And what we could do right away, instead of leaving it to the end like we did with the talking head example, we can go ahead and create that new bin right now. So let's go ahead and create a new folder. Go ahead and just call this the promo video example. Boom, promo video example. And go ahead and bring that backing track into our promo video example. And in fact, what we want to do to start creating this promo video is exactly how we just went, or exactly what I showed off in that introduction space, which is just to go ahead and import one of these clips into the actual timeline itself. But I think we actually did that, and I think I said B-roll. You see, at the very end of our example, or at the end of our exercise in section 1, in the introduction section, we dragged this into here to create a new sequence at the end. So we can actually just go ahead and delete this clip, and we now have obviously a specialized sequence that we had by dragging that in here that specialized the sequence and customized it to be that identical and aligned with our clips that we're going to be using. So we could go ahead and change the name of that to promo video. Promo video. Very simple. Want to keep everything nice and simple in here. And what we could actually do is just go ahead and open up our promo video example section and just bring in that backing track and throw that down here. And already, as soon as we throw that in, we start getting a look at the different waves that it's created. And you can actually increase the size of these by going down here and messing with these kind of scrubby things down here where you can scrub that up to increase the wave size and down to adjust it down. But we're going to bring it to about here because we are actually going to be paying attention to these beats, and it's just going to help us out a lot more if it's a much bigger wave file here that we could see more in depth of what's going on here, especially if we start zooming even more in like this. You can start seeing that these big kind of blotches here are going to be the beats. So for a promotional video, when I'd be going about creating this, I would be focusing on syncing up the project to make it as visually pleasing and overall just aesthetically pleasing to the viewer. And a huge way you can do that is by syncing clips to the beats. This is just a really nice combination. The viewer might not even realize stuff is even synced and you've gone out of your way to do this, but just in terms of hearing the beats and then seeing the clip change, that is the most pleasing to us as people. So that's what we're going to be going about doing. And I'm definitely happy I split these into two examples because this is quite a different example in terms of a basic video editing example to that talking head. But both of these different video editing or different type of videos that we're going to be editing are actually both, of course, encompassed under some very basic video editing. So now you see we've, of course, lined up where the first beat is or we haven't even given this a play to see whether that is. Well, this is what we're going to do first off. Let's go ahead and just give this a nice play from the beginning and see where we'd want to actually start this in terms of our video. But I'm thinking it's going to be around here. You see, I can already start looking at my wave file and just start deciding, okay, that looks like it's going to be a beat, that looks like it's going to be, and kind of just get a general understanding of where I'm going to start. But let's give this a play from the beginning and see where we do want to start it from. So it's definitely starting to build up, and it's looking like it is going to be there. Or actually, we could start it straight from there. So you just want to start your audio from a defining beat. So that is obviously where it is started. We can go all the way over here until this red guy pops up, and just go ahead and adjust the size of that. And that right there is, oh, I was adjusting the audio there. Simply, we could drag that to the beginning, and that's going to be the beginning of our audio sequence, okay? And we could actually just drag this out a little bit just so we could see a little bit more, get a little bit more context of what's going on. And now what we want to do is start the editing process, start putting this together, and start piecing it together. And overall, what we want to do is simply make that smaller here, make the B-roll smaller, and I just want to start with a DJ clip. So now it's simply dragging and dropping all the clips and lining them up. Now remember what I told you about the importing video only and importing audio only. For example, if I were to open this clip right here and go ahead and press Shift-I to again go to the beginning of my in points and give that a play, I could go to these guys, which I talked to you guys about, the drag video only or the drag audio only, and only bring in that video. So that's what I'd want to do. So that actually does look like a pretty nice shot that we might want to start on. In fact, I think I might want to just go ahead and maybe find a shot that looks a little bit more dramatic. So again, I would Shift-I to go to the beginning in point, and it looks like that's a pretty nice shot. So that's a nice little sequence where she claps the hands and then drops them and goes back to the kind of decks right there, the DJ decks. And what I'm going to do to bring just the video of that is hover over this one, this little guy right here, and just drag that down here to the first line. And if we go ahead and just bring this in again on the scrubby wheel, we could see that that has placed that at the beginning. And if we give that a play, we can now try to see where we're going to want to cut this clip. I'm thinking it's going to be right here, but let's give it a play and just make sure that we are 100% on where it's going to be changing. Actually, we could make it go here just to speed it up. I'm obviously just listening to where a defining part of the song is that we could change that on. So definitely, I think here we could change it. So if we go ahead and line that up here, that's where the beat is. Go to the end, just go ahead and pull that back in. And simple as that, we have our first clip placed. Boom, just like that. So now I want to just literally start going through, adding clips in. I've just added a DJ clip. Now I'm going to go to the crowd clips, and I'm going to go ahead and click this top one, which is the crowd on their phone. Okay, that's definitely pretty nice. I'm just going to go ahead and drag that video only again and just keep putting clips in here. It's kind of like Lego. You're just kind of piecing stuff together and putting it in here. And overall, there is one key thing that I would always suggest that you keep on throughout the video editing process. That again is the most user-friendly thing for you guys. That honestly, I should have talked about that in the previous example as well, but it didn't really come up as too obvious an example of definitely using this tactic. But up here, guys, is a few key things that I like to keep on. Now, the link section and the actual insert overwrite sequence, these two, I think they stay on default. However, this guy is the guy I'm talking about right here, and that is the snap. So if we go ahead and turn this off, I'm going to give you an example of what this is going to look like. So say we had this clip, or say we had not put this clip in here and we were to delete that. Let me put this on quick and show you what it looks like if I import. You see when I import this, when the snapping is on, it snaps right to here. I don't have to spend ages lining this up. It just simply snaps into place and makes that much more user-friendly, and it makes the experience of doing this not as kind of tricky, where let me show you what it would look like if I did not have snapping on, where if I were to import here, you see it does not snap. It starts going into the clip a little bit, and overall I would have to go through a kind of a grueling, annoying kind of process of lining this up and making sure it begins on the exact same frame. So let's just go ahead and delete that again, turn snapping on, re-import that clip in, and you see it's going to automatically snap to the clip. So if ever you're a little bit confused there and your clips aren't placing correctly, try and remember that one is to go over here to the top left of your sequence and just go ahead and make sure that snapping is turned on. Remember guys, I'm trying to include the most user-friendly process for really going about everything in here that I know. I'm trying to make that a big theme, just trying to save you guys the most time and overall just give you the easiest way to go about your creative process. So let us keep cracking on with placing these video clips in here, and if we give that a play, we're going to be looking now for the next beats, and we just give that a play. Go ahead and find out where that's going to be. So it looks like it's going to be right here. And the idea here, guys, is you just want to keep on cutting these clips down. I'm going to keep switching. So I've added a DJ, now a crowd shot, and now I'm going to go in here for a B-roll. Just go ahead and open that up in here in my source overview. And this is actually our Budweiser. We can go ahead and bring that in here. Go ahead and give that a play again. And it looks like that is the next beat right there again. So what we could actually do is just go ahead and trim that down again. And you guys, I'm sure you're understanding now, is we're just building the sequence, putting it together kind of brick by brick, so to speak, piece by piece. And it looks like this is our DJ's hugging one. This is kind of a nice clip. Go ahead and bring that here as well. Give that a play. And you see how if we go ahead and play that again, listen to the audio. So it's very clear that that, just based on me listening, is going to be the point that we want to chop, and it's just a significant part, something that stands out in the tune. Ideally, a kick or a beat. If you know what obviously those are, that's like a drum sound or something like that. Just something that's obviously kind of standing out that we can cut on, because the way a video looks when it cuts on the beat to the next clip and is overall synced to the audio, that's a really visually pleasing thing for a user or for a viewer to be experiencing, and they won't even realize there's anything amazing done there, but it's just going to be the most visually pleasing thing for them to actually experience. So let's give that a play. Oh, it looks like it actually kind of changed when she clapped her hand back there. But already you see how that is a synchronized sequence. And it's changing clip on every single beat. And in fact, what we're going to do here is just keep going until we have a nice, like, 15 seconds or something. In fact, we're going to go back here to the crowd shots. Just go ahead and actually double click that, open it up. And it looks like this is the confetti shot. This is a really nice shot. Again, we're just dragging just the video only because this is a promo video. We are using this backing track. We really don't need a whole nother layer of audio here. And we could actually leave this clip on because it's looking like it's pretty nice. We could leave that on for 2 beats even. So that's actually there for double the time that these other guys were, just to kind of switch up the pattern. Obviously, the same boring pattern is gonna get, you know, I just said it, pretty stale and boring. So let's just keep on working through, adding these clips in here, and just building ourselves a sequence. So it looks like that one's gonna change about here. Oh, about here. And really, this is the process for you guys. You just need to keep on tweaking this stuff, keep on throwing in the clips, and overall, just building yourself a nice sequence that's going to make sense, is going to be pretty visually pleasing. And obviously, I'm doing that by syncing stuff to the beats here. And the way I was going about making it more visually pleasing in the other example was to add on-screen reference to what I was talking about. And that is the beat right there. So it's really video editing in its simplest form, at least the way I see it, and from my point of view, is to spice up an otherwise boring and plain sequence or an otherwise boring and plain piece of content. For example, like that video previously of me just talking, that would be pretty boring, you know? Yeah, I'm decently charismatic in my delivery, however, it's still a boring clip. Likewise, this here, if this was a bunch of footage not synced to the beats, or maybe even just one continuous long video clip over the beat, but not even synced, like I said, this would not be visually pleasing. So it's all about creating these really pleasing visuals for people. So if we give that another play right here, this is coming together and really starting to look like a nice product. And there you have it. That is a nice little area to end on right there. That's definitely looking like a nice piece of content that we've put together very simply here. And that concludes our example number 2 of actually basic video editing and the process of adding your clips to the timeline, actually chopping them down to kind of coincide with either fitting into the beats or chopping them down to select certain parts like I showed you in our talking head example where we would need those for B-roll. Let me just bring that up so I could show you. So obviously these are the bits that we'd be chopping out in this example here. This one we're syncing stuff to the beat. I wanted just to kick off this editing section with 2 broad examples and 2 kind of different areas of video production, 2 very different type of videos that you could potentially be creating with the skills I'm going to be walking through in this masterclass for Adobe Premiere Pro CC. This concludes the basic video editing part, and I'll see you guys in the next lecture.